Hey guys, this was, I just wanted to make a quick video about something that came to mind yesterday after I posted my last post. If you haven't read it yet, please go check it out. But in it, I pretty much just explained that I've been going through a really bad bout of depression over the last like 6 months or so. And it's definitely been triggered by the weather. Seasonal affective disorder is a real thing, and it really does can mess with you heavily if you don't know how to deal with it. If you're like me and you just have a high tolerance for depressive symptoms, and then by the time you realize it, it's just it's gotten out of hand. Because I've been tracking myself for a long time, and my experience with my depression has been slow going. It when it goes away, it doesn't come back overnight. It comes back slowly, but the winter months can trigger a massive shift into it when if I'm not paying attention, and I wasn't this time. I thought I had it handled, and then I have noticed that October was the month where things started slowly coming off the rails. It was getting harder for me to eat right, which is so central to maintaining a balanced mood for me, particularly, but it applies to most people. But I know for me particularly, I had a hard time sticking to my lifestyle the way that I needed to. And what really came to mind yesterday, though, was that having a spiritual practice, being spiritual, does not mean that you don't deal with physical stuff. Doesn't mean that depression won't hit you. Doesn't mean that you won't have to be dealing with anxiety. If anything, you probably will be dealing with it more. You'll be more sensitive to it. Empaths in general are prone to this kind of thing. But really, I just wanted to make sure that nobody thought that just because I talk a lot about spirituality with self-care, but there is a physical component to it. There's a real world, day-to-day component to it that gets lost, and part of it is it's part of like my responsibility to make sure that I highlight that. But even though you can be the most spiritual person on the planet, and you may still have to deal with mental health issues. So spirituality doesn't mean that you get away with not feeling depressed or anxious, or if you have a history of bipolar or whatever the case may be. It gives you a better handle on how to approach it from a more holistic point of view, if that makes some sense. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't have anything super profound in that sense. I'll be making a few more videos later over the course of the next couple of days, explaining why self-care is paramount to dealing with mental health issues. And I'll explain what I did wrong, and not even so much blaming myself, because that part of that is the depression talking, but I am still responsible for my health, and feeling like I could get away with it because I knew what to do if I needed to. One has nothing to do with the other. But I'm going to be explaining that in a couple of videos down the road. But for right now, I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that spirituality does not negate the fact that you have real world things to deal with. Knowing that if you are in the camp where you have a history of anxiety and depression, just to preview on some of the other things I'll be talking about, you have to make the shift and understand that you have to live life differently than almost anyone else around you. The plus on this is that there's a lot more of us who have depression and anxiety than we talk about, even with everyone talking about it and removing the stigma and et cetera, with all the hashtags. There's a lot more of us who don't talk about it because it doesn't look the same in everyone. I think that's a big mistake that a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists make, is that they have this set of criteria and that's what they diagnose you on, but it looks different for everyone. I still get up and go to work. You know, I'm still able to get everything done, but I know that I'm depressed because I'm not supposed to be feeling the way that I'm feeling. Is it my responsibility? Is it my fault even for me to be in this? Yeah, actually it is. And that's not me being hard on myself. It's how I take responsibility for my actions. I wasn't diligent in it, and on top of that, I was so focused on other things that I thought I had to heal, that I overlooked the most prevalent one. I thought that I was just going through, like, I thought my mood swings were just because that my PMS was particularly bad over the past few months. That's a sign for me that my depression is coming back. But I didn't put two and two together. A lot of it is because depression is my blind spot. As much as I know about it, as much as I practically have done work on it within myself and with my clients, it still is a blind spot because it's not the funnest thing to admit that you have. And it's even more frustrating because the protocol to go in and, for lack of a better term, fix it is long. It requires a radical change on your part, and then you have to stick to it. Like, your lifestyle is just going to be different than everyone else's. But really what I wanted to say right now is that if you are somebody who is on a spiritual journey and you're using self-care for that, please continue doing that, because it's what eventually helps you realize what you need help with. But the underlying thing is you're not exempt. Your mental health is not, you don't get out of taking care of it. Because you're doing all these other things that you think that you have to do as far as being a spiritual person. So that's just my 2 cents for right now. I will probably pop back on later, but I love you all, and thank you so much. And if you haven't checked out my last post, please do. I think I might be opening a can of worms, but it might help a lot of people, and I'm hoping it helps more than just me, because otherwise it's not that much fun. But I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.